What's going on, guys? In this video, I kind of want to discuss investing into AI data center stock. Here lately, they have been all the buzz, right? That's what everybody wants to invest in. That's really what's taken over the market. That's what's getting, it's got the whole CapEx story from the hyperscalers behind it. It's a very attractive investment, right? And in this video, I kind of just want to break down how I'm going about investing in this sector, the different ways you can go about investing in this sector, and just trying to, give you the best understanding of how to go about navigating these waters, because it can be very, very tricky, because things can be hiding in plain sight and you don't even notice it. So the first part I really kind of want to explain is just how broad and how many companies there actually is in the sector. And the thing about it is, guys, there's going to be a few winners, but there's going to be a lot of losers in the data center infrastructure play, in the whole space as a whole. This space is very competitive. We've already seen multiple companies, all the Bitcoin miners, they're finally realizing, hey, look, Bitcoin mining, it probably isn't a very profitable future for us, because with the halvings, our profits are basically going to be cut in half, right? So you see all the Bitcoin miners transitioning over into the data center plays. You see all these new startups transitioning over into the data center plays. The big number one takeaway I want people to realize is, yes, there's going to be some great companies that come out of the dust and come out of all this, right? But there's going to be some big losers as well, right? And our job as investors is to kind of pick through and kind of pick the best ones that we see fit, that we think have the best option of breaking through, right? Because not all of them are. It's a very capital extensive sector, right? If you don't have the financial backing, if you don't have the partnerships, you're not going to make it, right? And the number one stock I'm invested in this sector right now is Keel Infrastructure. And if y'all have followed the channel at all over the past couple of months, I've done nothing but talk about Keel Infrastructure and how this is probably one of my biggest bets in the AI data center race. They have earnings next week, and that's going to, we're going to get a lot from that. But there's a bunch of others. You have Soluna, which is a very small company that's trying to break through, which is using like wind and wasted energy to run AI data centers. You have companies like Iren, TeraWolf, HUD8. They're all trying to transition over into the AI data center space. They're all really chasing down the big two that I really look at as the big two in this space is Nebius and CoreWeave. Those are the big two that really, yes, they're not the same as like a data center infrastructure like Keel is. They're kind of a neo cloud where they provide the hardware and they do all that other stuff, and they do like whole data center build outs. But those are like the two poster childs for the data center or AI data center space as a whole. So you got all these, you got a wide range of the investor community comparing all these names to those two. And it could be furthest from the truth, right? They're not the same. They're not, trying to do the same thing. And that's where people kind of get a little confused when they're going to make these investments into the data center sector. If you want to invest into the data center sector of the market, number one, you are going to have to be okay with volatility. Bar none. You're just going to have to be okay with volatility, because it's one of the most volatile stocks and sectors I've been a part of, right? You see 20%, 30% swings in a week, sometimes even in a day. And it can be absolutely ugly sometimes. But if you have conviction and you have belief in that company, you hold through it. Because, right, if you hold through volatility and you hold through the bad times and the company goes on to do great things, you're going to be rewarded, right? And you're going to be very, very happy with yourself that you held through those bad times. Yes, the bad times are going to suck. The bad times are going to be terrible, because you're going to have people on X talking all kind of crap, saying, well, that's a bad company. The CEO's a clown. They're running a circus over there, whatever. But in your heart and in your mind that they're full of shit. And what you have done in your research in that company, you feel it's a different type of way, right? And that's the beautiful thing about investing. And that's the beautiful thing about capital markets, is the haters don't decide what you do with your money. Yes, they might be able to influence your decision making if you let them, but at the end of the day, they're not hitting the buy, they're not hitting the sell, right? It's all up to you, and it's all up to you to make your own decisions investing in the market. So I just want to give you guys a couple of names that I'm looking at in the data center sector. Number one is Keel, right? Like I said, I have nothing better to say about Keel. Keel is probably, if I'm right with the Keel thesis, I'm going to be a very, very happy individual, right? I placed some big bets on Keel, and a lot of people in my community has as well. And this video isn't really directed right at my community because my community kind of knows what's going on. I kind of want to get this out there just to explain it. To say if you're newer in the space, if you're you've heard about all the hype, the AI hype and the investment hype, and you're just getting into this, this is kind of the video for you. But Keel Infrastructure is my number one. And none of this is financial advice. I'm telling you what I'm doing and what we've been discussing here on this channel. So Keel Infrastructure, they have earnings next week. A lot's going to come out with that. Another one I'm looking at is Soluna. Soluna is a very interesting product as well. They're staying in Bitcoin mining, but they're not just doing the Bitcoin mining for profit. They do Bitcoin hosting, which they host miners for other companies. But what they're also doing is they're building new facilities for AI and HPC data centers, which is incredible. And a lot of their the way they're doing that is through natural energy, is wind and wasted energy from the grid and stuff like that. So really cool what they're doing over there as well. They're a very small company, so you really want to be careful with, very small companies. Just know getting into it, if you see it's a small company, just realize that, it can be pretty volatile. There's going to be dilution. There's going to be capital raises. Just understand that going in. You really got to weigh the pros and cons when going into, revolutionary companies, small startups, right? It's very important that you do the work and understand what you're getting yourself into. And the other one I'm really bullish on long term is CoreWeave, right? They're one of the leaders in the space, but I really think after this pullback that CoreWeave has seen, it could do some massive numbers as well. Yes, they have a good bit of debt on the balance sheet, but their backlog is massive and their partnerships are out of this world, right? And not only am I invested in Keel, Soluna, but I also got a pretty good heavy stake in CoreWeave as well, and really believe in what they're doing. So, and they're a neo cloud, right? So they do the whole package. They don't just do infrastructure like Keel. They do the whole package. So they provide whole data center build outs for their customers, which is, another part of my portfolio that I would want exposure to. At the end of the day, the reason I want to make this video is the AI data center sector is going to be a great investment long term, because all this capex that is coming down from the hyperscalers is flowing down, and all these other companies in the data center space is going to benefit from all that capex. And we see how much capex that these hyperscalers are spending. I mean, it's almost trillions of dollars. It will be eventually. And like I said, these smaller companies are going to benefit from that. And that's where I'm placing my bets over the next couple of years. And I really do think that this could be, one of the best places for me to invest over the next couple of years to really outperform the rest of the market. Yes, you have the other sectors and little pockets of the market that are going to do well. It's just a given. It always happens. But being concentrated in a single sector sometimes can really provide a lot of opportunity if you do it the right way, right? Over concentration in the wrong sector, you can get wrecked really fast. But, concentration is where wealth is made. Diversification is awesome if it's in a Roth IRA and it's for your retirement account. But if you're really trying to make money in the stock market and build wealth, concentration is where it's at, right? This isn't financial advice. This is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm placing my bets. And like I said, you can go watch my past videos, and I deep dive into my thesis with Keel and how much money I have in Keel. Well, I don't really tell y'all how much money I have, but I tell you the percentage-wise of my portfolio that I have in Keel. And it just goes to show how bullish I am on that company, right? And how bullish I am on the data center sector as a whole. And I know a lot of my community on here has been asking me to cover more companies. Guys, I will eventually venture into that. I have a lot on my plate, and covering Keel is enough. Covering Keel already is a lot. So I will start venturing into other companies. I'm just solely focused on Keel Infrastructure right now, especially with the earnings coming up. And just how much money I have invested into them. It's really got my full attention, and I hope y'all respect that. But I will start digging, and we'll start posting more videos about other companies as well, like Soluna. I know a lot of people in the comments are asking for Soluna videos, and I promise you, I promise, I will start getting those out. Just give me a little bit of time, and we'll get them out for you. I promise. But Anyway, guys, that wraps it up. That's just my overview of the AI data center sector. A lot of them are going to lose, but a few of them are going to win, and you want to pick the winners if you can, right? Do your research. And I mean, sometimes it takes hours and hours and hours of research. It just don't take an afternoon on the, scrolling Twitter to do research about a company. It really takes going back, listening to their earnings calls, going back, listening to some fireside chats, listening to interviews from the CEOs. Really focus and hone in on the companies you're interested in, and 100% build conviction of 100% in that company before making any kind of sizable bets. Because, like I said, there's a lot of companies in the sector doing good things, but there's a lot of good companies that will fail. Even Kill Infrastructure could fail 100%. I could be 100% wrong with my thesis, but it's the risk I'm willing to take, right? The risk is worth the reward, in my opinion. So if y'all have any questions about anything, leave it down in the comments. I'll be glad to do my best to, answer anything I can, and we'll go from there. But till next time, guys, be safe, stay strong, don't panic, sell your bags, and we'll see you on the next.